You can relax. Colleen and Erik have a podcast. The world is scary and we're locked in our home, but now we have big microphones, so you can relax. That's the name of our podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Relax.
Hi.
I'm Colleen Ballinger.
And I, according to the Google News alert, my mother has set to her internet, am your husband. Erik.
You are my husband. And we have this weird podcast where we just kind of hang out and talk about whatever we want. And if that interests you, you should listen. And if it doesn't, maybe don't listen. Should I not encourage people to not listen?
Way to really sell it. Yeah, wow.
Today, well, I'm nervous today because today we are doing something that I'm scared of. We are rewatching the first episode of Haters Back Off, which is how we met, was through that show. And I haven't watched it since it came out.
Yeah, there's like a podcast trend right now where podcasts are literally just rewatching old classic television shows. And this is how we met, was on a show.
Yeah, and Erik listens to, there's one like The Sopranos, which is his favorite show, and he listens to that one. And then also, obviously, we listen to and love Angela Kinsey. She has one about The Office Ladies. With Jenna Fisher, and she played my mom on Haters Back Off. So, I guess this is something people do. And so since this is a television show that we are both on, we're like, maybe we should do this and see how it goes. And if you guys like it, we'll do more. But first, we need to talk about who needs to relax this week. Lovey, do you have someone that needs to relax this week?
I do.
What is it? Who is it? What is it?
I think that flavored trash bags
Flavored?
need to relax.
Who's eating trash bags?
Well, you're not eating. Well, what do you want me to say? Scented?
Yes,
what do they say?
Scented.
I call them flavored.
No,
I'm not eating the trash
licking
bags per se, but like I might as well be because of how much it's in your face. Why do we? What are we scenting trash bags for? Honestly,
well, that's kind of obvious. Are you being? Is that a serious question?
Are you just saying? Are you saying that trash smells?
Yeah, I mean,
would rather smell trash than trash mixed with lavender chamomile bag.
I agree with this.
I think that it becomes its own more pungent, more like in your face smell when you have a, as I said, flavored trash bag.
Scented.
I get rid of this. This is something we do not need. I think it is a horrible evolution in the whole trash bag industry.
I agree.
Were they bored? Were they just like, what if we scented them?
I agree with you. And no, actually, okay, wait, you're losing everyone here, love, because I think everyone's going to agree with you, but you got to make sure you're on the right track here because you can't, first of all.
How am I off track?
Because you're right.
I know.
However, you can't say, why would they do this? Because it's very, like when you stink, you put on deodorant, you spray perfume to make yourself smell good.
Is this covering the smell? Is this guising any of the trash odor?
I do think it was a really great idea, poor execution. I feel like if there were trash bags...
I'm with you now. Okay.
If there were trash bags, like think about your favorite scent. Like scent is not a flavor.
It would ruin that scent then.
No, what if it was...
Because I can't smell lavender now without thinking about trash bags.
What if the science was good enough that like the second you put it in that trash bag, you smell no trash, you only smell this delectable smell. Like I love the smell of pine, like Christmas tree. Like if I
would be pine trash.
I'm saying
I think what you're saying.
What if we sent
trash bags like trash? We make
what?
This is what I'm. I don't know.
No.
What is this pitch meeting?
No, I'm saying like the point of it is so that it's masking the stink. It's masking the stank. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're trying to do, but they're failing at it. And I agree with you.
I think that smell is bag. If you're trying to mask the scent of trash, have the scent be bag. So that way
but then you just smell the trash. So you'd rather just smell plastic and trash?
I want to go back to the good old days where trash just smelled like trash and not Febreze trash.
I agree with you. Because I think that they're like, it smells like Hawaiian flour and it actually just smells like a little vomity.
Oh, even now thinking about it.
So I agree with the scents are off, the execution is off, but I appreciate the idea of it. Because like who wants to smell stinky trash? Because then if your trash is stinky, but it's not full and you have to take it out before it's like a waste, you know? So it's like if you can mask the stank and fill the trash at the top, then you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? Also, it is a scent. It's not a flavor. A flavor is something you taste in your mouth.
I prefer to call them flavored trash bags.
But that's not what they're called,
and then when you close them up, you get that whiff. It's just.
I agree. But it is not a flavor. I guess maybe you can taste it. The scent is so bad that you can taste it
unwillingly.
Yeah. So I agree with you, love. but I also don't. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So I'm giving you a job. You're the president of Glade right now. Mm-hmm. You're in charge of the trash bag.
Is it Glade? I always thought it was Glad. It's Glade, isn't it?
Glady? It's Glade.
Yeah, there's an E on the end. Why did I think it was... Okay, anyway, continue.
They're not paying us. You're the president of Glad.
Okay, my dream job.
Big boardroom meeting, setting the scene. Here you are. You're talking to your flavor division. Mm-hmm. What do you tell them?
Well, we wouldn't have a flavor division because that would be implying that we're going to encourage people to eat trash bags. And as the president, I don't condone eating of trash bags because they're not edible. At least this line is not.
Good.
I would say we need to hire the top scientists in the universe.
Yeah.
Not just the world, the universe.
Take them. I know they're working on vaccines right now. Give us a few.
This is more important.
Yeah.
It's not, that was a joke. I feel like I have to clarify when I'm joking sometimes. But I would say we need to figure out a way to make this smell amazing and actually hide the smell of trash. We don't want the smell of lavender and garbage. We don't want the smell of Hawaiian, hibiscus and trash. We just want the smell of the good part. So let's make that happen.
Yeah.
And that would be our goal.
Just rethink your whole business model there.
Well, I think that was their goal and that just didn't get executed. Anyway, okay, that's great. Now, for me, this might be like controversial, my thing that needs to relax. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble
Did you think of it beforehand?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't think this is a relax first. You've actually thought of it beforehand.
Well, this has been like kind of bugging me a little bit and I don't want to get anyone in trouble. So this is not, I'm genuinely not trying to get anyone in trouble, but I want to just bring it up because it's a Haters Back Off episode. You look mortified.
Oh, I just thought it was going to be personal. I thought it was going to be about me.
No. What needs to relax? I mean, you do need to relax. But so do I, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that and I want that for you kind of way.
Thanks.
I love you. No, what needs to relax is someone has been selling items from Haters Back Off from the set. Has been selling stuff from the set of Haters Back Off and profiting off of it.
I thought we had it all in our garage.
No, we have my costumes. And we have a couple of other random items. I have some of Emily's paintings. I have some artwork that was on the walls.
Random props.
Not even really,
I stole
barely any props.
One of Patrick's jackets.
Yeah, I mostly just have the costumes and we have the bicycles.
Yes.
Because when the show got canceled, I was like, send me anything that you can. Because I know after a while it gets
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You haven't heard of this?
How would I have heard of it?
Because it's on the internet. People keep sending this to me. And I said, I'm not trying to get any, they're allowed, I don't own this stuff. Netflix owns the show. Netflix owns all the stuff. But I'm sad because I'm wait, if you don't want it, send it to me. Don't profit off of, and the thing that's frustrating is what is getting sold is that I saw, I'm sure there's more, but what I saw the screenshot of is someone is selling the artwork that was done for the intro, the the whole intro music where it's all the Miranda art.
Yeah.
Someone's selling all that, which me and Corey did the majority of that along with the art department.
Yeah.
But we filmed that during post-production. And so we didn't have the full creative team like we usually do. So we needed a whole art wall. And so Corey was paper macheing Miranda heads and sewing dolls and we were painting and crayon and every version of art.
So
my apartment was full of Miranda art.
Access to a Vancouver studio
found it
back
all.
Room.
Found all this art and is selling it.
On where? On eBay?
I feel like I don't know. Because I said, I don't want to.
I feel like you're just encouraging people listening
to go buy it. Well, you know what? Honestly, I'd rather the fans go get it than randos. You know what I mean? Because I don't
think randos are
well, I don't know.
This is a common practice. There are
Totally.
movie and TV show memorabilia websites where you can buy.
Which is why, by the way, I'm not even allowed to be upset about this. And I'm not upset. I'm just oh, I wish I could just have it. But I'm not mad about it because I know this is how it works. I don't own this stuff. Netflix owns it. This happens. But I still was wait, what? Okay, so hold on. I have to find it. So here we go. I found it. It's on icollector.com.
What? You're advertising for them now.
I know, but I don't know. Look at it. It's artwork from the show.
Kidding.
I'm not kidding. Yeah, this is stuff I painted that one. Corey did that one.
Very recognizable from the opening credits.
Yeah, these are from the opening credits. It's stuff that Corey and I made and the art department made. And the current bid is $20.
Canadian, though. Is that more or less?
I don't know what it is right now. But So they're selling it all or just one particular item for $20? Oh my God, this paper mache head got smushed to bits. But I'm like, oh, I wish I had that.
Is it just that, or is it more things than just the artwork?
Well, that's the only thing I've seen, but I think there was other stuff at one point and I just ignored it because I was like, oh, that made me sad. But like I said, it's not my, I just hope whoever's getting the money is like the people who deserve it. You know what I mean? Because what I would do with those is I would keep my favorites and then I would auction off the rest for childhood cancer for my fundraiser every year.
I know. Yeah, I know you would.
So I'm like, maybe
maybe they're, maybe they're going through something.
Maybe I'll buy it.
Maybe you could buy it and
but
you help them out.
But like I said, this is not throwing shade or hate towards whoever is doing it. There's literally, they're allowed to do that, I'm assuming. Yeah, well, if maybe they own it and they're like work for Netflix or work for the production company.
Maybe they had to store it and they needed the space and they were like, maybe I'll, maybe you don't know what people, if anything, this pandemic has taught us, we could be empathetic to.
Of course, but I'm just saying like, I was like, wait, no, don't sell those things because what if someone gets it and they don't even want it and then they just throw it away or like, I'm like, but I want it. Oh my God. Like, I just kind of panicked. So
is there a prop from
maybe I need to relax. I was saying they need to relax, but maybe it's just I need to relax.
Is there like a prop that you can think of from a TV show or movie that you're a fan of that you're like, oh, I wish if that was like online at auction, like I would
Waiting
buy
for
that.
Geffman, one of the stools from Stool Boom. I would like
that's great. That's a good one.
And that was the first thing that came to mind. But I'm sure there's plenty of things. Anything from a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie, I would buy that.
Okay.
Quickly. Yes, those things. But I don't know how much I would spend.
There's this leather jacket in The Sopranos that Tony Soprano
is it for sale?
Is gifted in this episode. No, it's not. But I've
looked
it? For like I have before like looked online for like Sopranos props.
Mm-hmm. Did you find anything? I looked for Christmas for you.
Yeah, you can't find much.
I couldn't. I could find like signed, like autographed scripts, and I was like, "Are these real?" You know what I mean? It was like I don't know.
Yeah, autographs like online from random sites.
Yeah, it's kind of like weird. People sell my autograph, and it's not mine. If you see my autograph for sale online, it's not mine because I don't sign things and then give them to people to like sell, unless it was like I signed it for someone at a stage door, and then later they're like, "I'm going to sell Colleen's playbill," but I don't. If I've seen it on Amazon, like Colleen's signature, and I'm like, I didn't sign that. I don't know.
Did you ever ask anyone for an autograph before?
Yes. Only like when I'd see Broadway shows.
You would be at the stage door? I'd be at the
stage door. Yeah. That's why that was such a huge moment for me when I walked out opening night and saw those people wanting my autograph, like made me sob.
Waitress. Did Waitress, yeah.
For the first time, because I used to wait and forever. And that's why I made a point to go out after every single show, no matter how much I missed Flynn, no matter how I felt, no matter how tired I was like, I will go out after every show and sign every single playbill. Like I made sure to do that. So I couldn't take pictures with every single person because it would have taken too long. Because I had a baby, but I made sure to sign every single playbill because that was something that was devastating to me when I would go to a Broadway show and wait for hours and then they wouldn't come out and I wouldn't get their signature. It like would break my heart.
Just did you have like an autograph book or just like playbills?
I'd have them sign whatever playbill. I never got any like worth mentioning though. Like I really wanted Sutton Foster's. I saw her in Drowsy Chaperone and she didn't even come out. And I understand I'm not shading her because doing 8 shows a week is exhausting. And there were plenty of times where I was like, I'm so tired. I don't know if I can get through it. Like
she slept in the theater? What do you mean she didn't come out?
There's probably a separate exit. Yeah. Anyway, all that is interesting information, I guess. But I'm sure you guys want to hear us talk about Haters Back Off. So how we're going to do it, I'm going to explain it. How we're going to do it is we were going to watch it and then just talk about it now. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to watch it with you guys. So if you want to pull it up and watch along with us, please do. It's going to be on mute for us so you don't hear the episode and us at the same time.
Yeah, or if you're driving, this I feel like this will still be interesting. And if you haven't seen the show, like it's great. I will say like unbiasedly, and even as we're now married and have a child together, like we met doing this show and I can honestly say it's the favorite job I've ever had as an actor. Like the project I'm most proud of. Like I think it really holds up and will be like this kind of cult classic for generations if it's always there and people can find it. I mean, I think so. I just think it's like the comedy and the heart of it is so layered and thought out and genius, and there's so much passion behind it from you and everybody involved that like I think it's really great, and I hope that people don't somehow dismiss it as like this YouTuber got a Netflix show or what, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. I think a lot of people do.
Does that sound backhanded somehow?
No,
like, I don't know how to like word it right.
I think
but
like it's very specific taste. Like you either like it or you don't. And that's kind of what we were going for. We weren't hoping people didn't like it, but we were like, we're going to make the writers. We were like, we're going to make a show that we love and we think is funny. And when the reviews came out for it, one of the writers on the show, who's incredible, Justin, he's such an incredibly talented writer. We got some great reviews and we got some reviews that were like, I don't get it. And,
I remember this.
And I was I didn't read any reviews. I still have not even the good ones. I haven't read any of them because I just want to remember the project how I remember it. But you know, I came into work and they were talking about the reviews and I was like, oh, people said they didn't like it. And he was like, Colleen, that's what you want. He's like, you came in here and you said, I'm not trying to make a TV show that everyone's seen. I want this to be unique and different. It's Miranda. It's got to be weird. It's got to be different. He's like, you can't make a weird, different, unique show and everyone will like it. That doesn't exist. Like if you want to make a fluffy like show that's generic, you can do that, but that's not what you set out to do. And I was like, oh, that's true. And he's like, so you actually got exactly what you wanted, which was like, people either get it or they don't. And awesome if they get it. And if they don't, that's fine too. Like it's, you know, and the way he worded it to me, I was like, oh, that's so true. I didn't want to make a show that everyone just loved. It's like I wanted to make a show that I loved.
It's like that band you discover in middle school and it's like yours and you love them. You know what I mean? But like not everybody. Back to my point, and I don't, and I'm not like blowing smoke here, but like you, like a lot of YouTubers, whatever, like, and you are like a bit now, like, you know, your personality and people know you personally and love you for you and sharing, but like you got your start like as a quote unquote YouTuber before that word even existed with this character based off of character work and your talent as creating this character and acting that part. And this show is so derivative of that. I'm nervous to watch it, but before we get into it, I do want to say thank you to our first sponsor of the day, which is Calm. We love Calm. The Calm app is amazing. You guys, sleep. We all need sleep, right? Just some of us aren't very good at sleeping. Me. Also Erik. But one thing that has helped us to be able to sleep is this Calm app. It is something that helps me so much when I'm having nights where my mind is just racing. It calms down my mind. It gets me to like try to get back on track of focusing on like, how do I fall asleep right now, as opposed to thinking of the million things on my to-do list. So if you guys are having trouble sleeping, this might be something that you would want to check out. We're so excited to partner with them today. The app is designed to help you ease stress and get the best sleep of your life. And when you relieve anxiety and improve your sleep, you feel better in every part of your life. Calm is a whole library of programs designed for healthy sleep, like soundscapes, guided meditations, and over 100 sleep stories. Over 85 million people around the world use Calm to take care of their minds and get better sleep. And if you go to calm.com/RCE, you'll get a limited time offer of 40% off a Calm premium subscription, which includes hundreds of hours of programming. Get the Calm app and experience a transformation in the way you sleep. And I just want to say for us, like, yes, it has helped calm my mind on those nights with insomnia, but also like randomly throughout the day, we use this. Like Erik's been using this app. Yeah, I like to do the meditation breaks. Like, yeah, I almost like need them now. Yeah,
since before they sponsored us, we've been using and paying for this app. We really love it. If you are a listener of the show, Calm is offering a special limited time promotion at 40% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/RCE. That's 40% off unlimited access to Calm's entire library, and new content is added every week. Get started today at calm.com/RCE. That's calm.com/RCE. Yay. So it is time to watch Haters Back Off. Erik is queuing it up right now. So we're going to be watching it and we'll tell you when to pause so we can talk about stuff if we need to pause ever, but we'll probably just kind of be talking over it the whole time. And
so what was the last time you've watched the pilot episode of Haters Back Off?
I really don't remember. It was a very, very long time ago. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode of the podcast. Basically, I am terrified to watch the show. If you want to know the reason why, you can go listen to the end of the last podcast. But basically, it's hard for me to listen to or to watch the show because it was a very important, big part of my life that is very special to me. And so to watch it. I'm very proud of it. I love it. And there's a lot of wonderful, good memories attached to it. And that's why it makes me sad. It makes me sad that it's over, I guess. And it was just a very special part of my life. So we're going to push play on this thing. I'll tell you when we push play so you can watch along at the same time if you would like to, or you can just listen to us talk about it. So here we go. Oh gosh, I don't know how technology works. All right, I'm pushing play right now. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm already nervous. I'm like pretty stressed right now. So it starts off with Miranda making a YouTube video, and it like looks like an old YouTube video,
which I thought was so great.
This was scary for a lot of people on the team because they thought it would make people be like, what is this? And turn it off. Like, and I don't want to call anyone out, but there are a lot of people like producers on the team who are like, I don't know if you should start the episode
it like this.
this.
Like, because people are going to assume that the whole series looks like it was shot on like a home VHS.
Right.
Camera. But I can remember like seeing this for the first time in the Vista Theater in Los Angeles at like our premiere and just feeling it.
I was wearing an earwig, like a little earpiece so I could hear the music. And
yeah, those are tough.
I hated that.
Yeah, those things are.
Because it like screams white noise in your ear. And by the way, they had to CGI it out when they circle around me. I love the camera move here. So the director of this episode, Andrew Gaynard, is
genius,
brilliant,
so
genius. And he had this idea of, we wanted to start in the YouTube video, but then to swirl around me and swirl around the entire room. And I remember like my first day in Vancouver, I think, or the first day the cast got to Vancouver.
Did you rehearse like the camera move?
Yeah, we rehearsed it with an iPhone. Like he walked around me with an iPhone just to see what it would look like if you wrapped the camera around me.
And then you kind of see Steve for the first time out of focus.
So it reveals,
like, wait, there's a guy there.
Yeah, so it reveals Uncle Jim for the first time that like someone is watching, but it's out of focus and I love this camera move. I think it's so pretty.
Kudos to the camera ops on this too, and lighting that they could just circle around you without cutting.
Well, and I love it because
twice I feel like they.
Up until this point, everyone knew Miranda as like, making YouTube videos, and they saw it starts how everyone knows Miranda.
Right.
And then for the first time, you're in Miranda's actual world. You're in her room with her. You've seen her online for years. And for the first time ever, you see what happens before and after the camera's on and off. Oh, and here's Steve Little as Uncle Jim turning off the camera. He is the funniest person in the uniuniverse.
Yeah. It was so hard not to laugh like every scene with him for every take.
I did. He's
also just the best dude like ever.
I love him so much, and he is the perfect Uncle Jim. So he's so funny. I love him so much. So this was like such an exciting reveal for me to reveal Uncle Jim. I think this is the thing I was most excited about because I talked about Uncle Jim so many times over the years in my videos. This is the first time you're seeing him. So here's the intro.
All these
things are for sale, I guess. Yeah. Oh, that one's for sale. Yeah, some of these are for sale.
So, okay, here's an interesting question.
Here's an interesting. Sorry to cut you off. I want to say it while I think of it. So, all our names and all the handwriting, haters back off. Oh, I'm going to pause it. Pause it right now, everyone. Pause it at the end of the intro. Sorry, this is how this is going to be. This is a horrible idea. I just want to say this one thing. So, remember what I was saying.
We should do this like that. I wouldn't get to speak necessarily.
I really want to hear everything you have to say. There's just my brain. I haven't watched this in years, so my brain is like filled with information. So all the writing, like where it says haters back off.
Yeah, you did
all
it,
of
right?
our names. I wrote it out. It's my actual handwriting. And the haters back off logo that, ended up on the cast chairs, on all the scripts, everywhere. That was written on the back of a script in the writer's room. They're like, they want to know if you have like a logo or something that you want to use for this. And I was like, I don't know. And they needed something right away. So I flipped my script over that we were writing at the time, wrote haters back off in Sharpie, and I took a picture of it and just sent it to them. I was like, just use this for now and we'll make something different later. And we never did. So the haters back off logo is something
Did they have you do it on like a stylus or something, on like on an iPad?
Sharpie, and I took a picture with my iPhone.
And then they just
and
worked
I
off
emailed
of that?
it to Netflix and was like, just use this for now, because they wanted something for this actual script pages. So like when we got scripts, it said haters back off.
That's what's on the posters.
Yeah. So and all of the handwriting of all our names and the crossing out of the misspellings and stuff, that was my handwriting too. So anyway, what were you going to say, love?
I was just going to ask about like the origin of the Miranda wall, because I don't know like how that all did you start getting actual fan drawings to mail and then like put all this, like was there one Miranda drawing that you put behind you and then it became 2 and then 100?
I started getting fan mail and fan art and it blew my mind because, I'm just this girl posting videos to the internet to like make my friends laugh. And then it like got popular.
To what address? Like they would find your address
like when
and send
I would tour, they would give them to me.
Okay.
And then eventually I did open up a PO box because I would get, gifts and homemade fun things from people at my live shows and letters and art. And I thought that was mind blowing that like people took the time to draw a picture of me, strangers that I didn't know.
It is.
Yeah. And so I've kept over the last decade every fan art, every letter I've ever received, boxes and boxes. I have every single one because to me that means so much that someone took time out of their day to use their art to like do something that had to do with me. Like that's crazy to me. So I remember that was really special to me when I started receiving those. And I was like, what do I do with these? Because like I want to keep them and some of them are so cool I want to show them off. So then thinking as a character, I was like, well, what would she do with these? And I was like, oh, she'd put them up. Like she'd have pictures of herself everywhere.
She'd make it her back.
Yeah, she'd be like, this has to be everywhere to show how famous I am. Because that seemed so narcissistic to me to have someone be like, I'm going to put pictures, like case in point, if you're watching behind us, is posters of Haters Back Off and pictures of ourselves. But to me, that was like so narcissistic that someone would be like, I'm just going to put photos of myself all over the walls of drawings that other people have done of me. But in reality, me as Colleen, like just thought it was so sweet that people were doing that and I wanted to show it off.
They weren't there, but then all of a sudden there was a Miranda video where there was a wall of fan drawings behind you?
Yeah. I don't remember the first one, but yeah, that happened.
That's so cool.
Anyway, all right, let's get back to the episode.
So that's what the opening credit sequence is.
Yeah, so that's the opening credit. And now we're pushing play again now. So a lot of people have asked what year this show was, because like when you look at YouTube, it looks so old. This was supposed to be in real time of Miranda's career. So that way we thought we could do it for so many seasons. We could go forever because if we started, now it's 11, 12, 13 years ago, then we could just go forever. But we wanted the show to be kind of confusing. It's kind of like when you watch Napoleon Dynamite, you're like, what year is this? Yeah. Like this is because these people are so out of touch with reality. They don't know what's in fashion. They don't know what's normal and what's cool. This little town they live in, that's kind of the feeling we wanted. So it does follow. I'm pausing because I'm just going to talk over this. Oh gosh. We will
never get through this 24-minute episode.
I'm sorry,
27-minute episode.
I'm sorry.
I think that's fine. This is all really interesting to me.
So we paused it right as Miranda left the room to go see Patrick. We heard the bicycle bell. And I want to make sure we're paying attention to that because that's very important to me. But anyway, I wanted the show to take place when these things took place. So Miranda's first viral video, I wanted to happen when my first video actually did go viral. And I wanted to follow the course of, so Miranda's going to New York City for the first time. I wanted that to be in the year that actually happened to me.
So 2000?
It was 2008 that my first video went viral, but we never wanted to say that until now I'm revealing it because we wanted people to not be like, have a stigma or an idea of when this time was. I wanted it to be kind of like people could think it was now or people could think it was then. But the YouTube of it all very much makes it look dated. And they did a great job with that. But we, like I said, we also wanted it to look like these people, if this, we all have flip phones in this show. If this show did take place in 2021, these people would still have flip phones. You know what I'm saying? Like they're
timeless in a way.
They're just not up to date and with what is cool and what is not, I guess. So anyway, that is all that. I have so much to say about the bedroom that I have not gotten into. But the house is all based on my actual house that I grew up in. So there's no closet door on that closet because that is how my closet is at home in my childhood bedroom.
I see it now, like now knowing you and having seen your childhood home.
All the furniture is very similar to the furniture I grew up with. There's porcelain dolls above Miranda's bed. I mean, we had incredible set designers. The art department was unreal amazing. And they just were like, give us pictures of your childhood.
I haven't seen this since having now been to your childhood home.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah. And so
that's that room.
I know. Like they did a really good job. When my niece and nephews came to set for the first time, they walked into the garage set, which is like packed full of junk. And they go, oh my gosh, it's grandma's garage. They like knew it as like the set looks very similar to the home I grew up in. So the porcelain dolls, what I was going to say is I collected porcelain dolls as a kid. So they would ask questions about like my life and how I grew up and the home I grew up in. And then sometimes I would say things, they'd be like, what? That's so weird. And then they'd put that in the home.
I know.
They were amazing.
Great team all around to like kind of pull that, like,
so
you know
amazing.
what I mean? As like reference and make
so
it
amazing.
Come to life.
Okay. So now we're getting into Erik.
Well, the bicycle bell has rang.
That bicycle bell rang.
And this scene was literally on my first day of shooting.
Mm-hmm. It was my first day of shooting of acting.
The first scene we shot together was the rain scene when it's raining. But this was the
3.
second scene we shot, like, so my second scene ever for the show. And the first one where we really interact. And I can remember in between, like after like the first take or the first rehearsal, then kind of going to you and Andrew and just being like, who is this guy? Like literally trying to figure it out in the moment, like just how, like his base for reality, like how neurotic he, you know what I mean? Like, and how can it be genuine? And
you did such a great job making it genuine.
The shots are so awesome.
Yeah. Our director,
wide angle lens from underneath.
The reason we hired Andrew Gaynard as the director for so many episodes was because he came into the interview with us, and the way he pitched how he wanted to shoot this show was like incredible. He's like, I want wide angle lenses right up in your face. Like, that was really important to me, that I still looked gross, even with really expensive, fancy cameras. And he achieved that. I looked disgusting. But this was my first day of shooting too.
The froze toast and you eating that.
Oh, and this, the popsicle,
you could
the
not
bubble.
Blow a bubble with that gum to save your life.
I'm pausing it again. If you're watching along, pause as Miranda's going back into the house. The blowing the bubble was awful because I ate, I think 50 popsicles that day because we shot so many scenes outside the house that day. So by the time we had shot this scene, Erik and I had already done rain scene for hours where there was pouring rain on us, and he was soaking wet, like head to toe, drenched, and then had to be for hours, and then had to be like blow dried.
Just
and
multiple people with multiple blow dryers, like
just all over everywhere, and trying to get him dry off and warm. And then we shot this scene. So we'd already had a crazy morning, and I'd already eaten a bunch of popsicles, and it was my first time filming in this situation as an actress. You know, I'd been on set already, like when other actors were acting, but these were my first scenes, and I was so nervous.
These were your first scenes acting too? Did you not shoot anything?
Yeah. No, nothing.
Yeah, I thought so, because this was like day 2 or 3 of shooting. It was day 2.
It was day 2. And day 1, we shot the scenes at the grocery store with Angela. But I remember in episode 3, the rain scene, you can see my jaw quivering from nerves. You can see like I'm shaking from how nervous I was.
I wonder if you remember this. We shot in North Vancouver, and our base camp was away from the house, this like the exterior of the suburban house. So they had us in like a parking lot of like a school where like the trailers and base camp was. And there was this weird kind of like pollen thing happening where like all like the pollen from all the trees was like, it looked like snow in the parking lot.
Of where?
Of where our base camp was, which is where they keep all the trailers, like makeup, hair, and whatever, and then they'll shuttle you to set.
I do remember that.
If you don't know. But there was like this weird like pollen.
It was pretty.
Craziness happening. Yeah, where all these, it was just floating everywhere, but like piling up on the street. Like it was just a very surreal morning. By the way, like we had to be there at 5:30 a.m. And then we're shooting this by 7 a.m.
And
so early. Why is acting so early all the time?
We need a daylight. That's why. But one other fun, interesting thing, perhaps, is about the scene. Right now, we are paused on like the wide, very wide shot of Erik and I right before Miranda walks in the house. And we shot in Vancouver because the show takes place in a town right outside of Tacoma, Washington. Miranda says she's from Tacoma, but in reality, she's from like a small little town outside of Tacoma. Like not many people live there. And, we wanted it to be cloudy and gray. We wanted the tone of the show to be like yellows, browns, grays, like kind of 70s colors is kind of what we were going for. And we wanted lots of clouds. So we knew we couldn't shoot it in Los Angeles. We wanted it to be, we were deciding between Portland, Oregon and Vancouver to shoot. And
I remember that. Like the,
And we ended up shooting in Vancouver, which I'm so glad. It's now one of my favorite cities in the whole world. But somehow, every time we shot outside,
gorgeous.
Not
a cloud in the
one.
Sky.
Season 2 wasn't like that, but season 1, beautiful, bright blue, gorgeous sky. So all the clouds in the scenes where you can see the sky outside the house are CGI'd and like edited in. Like those are not real clouds.
I'm sure. And I don't even know how you do that, and I wouldn't have noticed, but
beautiful blue, gorgeous day. And we had to like make it look ugly.
Never seen anyone so upset it was a beautiful day.
Well, that's something that everyone would talk about on set. They're like, Colleen is so interesting to work with. They wouldn't say interesting. They would just be like, I've never worked with someone who's like, no, that's not ugly enough, or that's not janky enough. Can we make it jankier?
Janky was your word.
Canada,
yeah.
They all made fun of me in Canada. Like all the people on the team would be like, we've never heard the word janky before. And now I wonder I need to look up where that comes from, but they're all like, you say that all the time. Like I wanted to look gross, but like beautifully gross. Do you know what I mean? Like I had a very specific vision, and everyone was on board and everyone felt the same way.
You kind of had a hand in every little detail in that way.
I was so lucky to have
I'd never seen that before.
So many people be so collaborative.
Yeah, but as an actor, I'd never seen that before, to whereas like my co-star in these scenes had also written it, was also an executive producer, and was also like adjusting props and set pieces with her own hands. Like the floor in the house is not dirty enough, like balling up trash and moving things around and going back and looking at what you see in the frame and like moving things. Like I had never experienced that before as an actor. Like the person I'm acting with is like also doing all the things. I was just kind of like blown away by it. And I'm just like, it's so cool that you got to
I am so lucky, because that doesn't exist.
2 seasons of their own television. It's so incredible.
I just feel very lucky that Netflix let me to have such a heavy hand on the show, and also that the team we put together was so collaborative. They were so talented and so amazing. I learned so much from them. But also, I'd never been in a situation like this before, so I didn't know that wasn't normal. I thought if you created a show, like you need to care about it passionately enough that you want to have like, you want to help in every aspect. You want to help with the costumes. You want to help with the props. You want to help with the set deck, like all that. And I had to learn, like, that's not how this works.
Not generally. I mean, it's like maybe, they're usually just not, they're not there, let alone like on camera.
But I mean, everyone, like I said, was incredible to work with and taught me so much. And I'm so grateful for everyone who worked on the show and how patient they were with me and like willing to work with me. And I felt like everyone who worked on the show for the most part was passionate about it as well, because it was something different and weird. So anyway.
Oh, the crew loved working on it because it was so weird and funny and strange. And I think they were used to working on like a lot of things that shoot in Vancouver are more like
dramas and not anymore, but back then, yeah.
Yeah. Like lots of like gloomy kind of drama. Traditional television, let's say, to whereas this was just like so out of the box.
It was very strange, but it was super fun. So anyway, there's that scene. I feel like I have talked so much and we're not going to get through this episode. By the way, we're doing this during our son's nap right now, and he's definitely going to wake up very soon, and we might have to finish this tonight. But I'm pushing play again as Miranda walks into the house. So if you want to continue watching along, that's where we're at. I love this shot so much. This was another thing I had to kind of fight for, was like how long.
That bicycle is so heavy, by the way. I was sweating and exhausted from doing this take after take.
Popsicle stick. How long and quiet some of the scenes were. I loved the painfully awkward silence and long takes.
Yeah, I was shocked when I first saw this that like you kept that whole thing as is. Was there anything different that you did physically for the look of Miranda from YouTube to the show? Because were you trying to get that time back of when you first started? I
tried to make her as close to her costume was different, obviously, but it was as close to the original Miranda as possible. Like when I started Miranda, that's what inspired the look of Miranda in the show. Now Angela's on the screen. Genius.
Brunette
Angela Kinsey. She's so sweet to be willing to like dye her hair dark for the show. She is so funny and an incredible human. Like, I adore Angela. She's such a good friend and just amazing. I love this scene so much. This was the first scene I shot with the family, the breakfast scene with everyone. And
you could just see you kind of cracking up
multiple
throughout
times.
The whole thing.
Because this day was very surreal for me. It was the first time I got to be with Steve. Fanning my face. I haven't watched this in so long.
They're two great improvisers, by the way, Angela and Steve Little.
Yeah, Steve Little and Angela Kinsey are both incredible at improv acting, which was a huge part of the audition process, like, because I knew I wanted to improv a lot. And they are incredible, and they made me laugh hysterically, like, every single day. And this was my first time shooting with them, and they were so funny. Basically, I was laughing through this entire thing. And there are bloopers of this online. If you search bloopers of Haters Back Off, most of the bloopers are from this scene. And I could not keep a straight face. Jim and Angela were improving the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. I was also so giddy and excited that this was happening. It was hitting me in that moment, like, oh my God, like, I'm just this random girl who made up a character to make her friends laugh. And somehow people watch those videos, and now Netflix is producing a Netflix original series, and I'm in the house, which is a set, and there's like 100 people on the crew, and I'm with Miranda's uncle and mom, like, that I made up in my brain.
What a
like,
trip.
It was such a trip, and I was so giddy and so excited and so happy that, like, even if they weren't improving funny stuff, I would have been laughing, to the point where the director, Andrew, got so pissed at me. So you can see me smile a few times in this scene. Like, if you watch me in this scene, you can see me breaking.
And now they reveal Emily.
My favorite improv in the whole world it happens right now.
Oh, okay.
I have a bag of salami. Yeah, we revealed Emily, the sister. I'm pausing it again right after the reveal of Emily.
Francesca Reale.
Yeah, Francesca, the beautiful, lovely Francesca.
I saw people ask about this, like how long you had the conceit for Miranda having a younger sister, and like you also, like, if people don't know, like, when the show was coming out, you kept that very secretive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like the reveal of that.
Yeah.
What was the thought?
Well, I'll get into that. That's
after the bag of salami talk.
After the bag of salami talk. Okay. So, because that's kind of a long-winded story, but all of these are. So the bag of salami is my favorite improv in the whole first episode, because I list foods that I'm eating, and Emily goes, "What is a bag of salami?" And I think Bethany's line after that was like, "Emily, don't be rude to your sister. Don't talk back to your sister," something like that. Like, she kind of scolds Emily. But instead, Angela said, "Emily, you know what a bag of salami is." Like, and that had me and Steve were a disaster. Like, when she improv that, like, it was, because that was the most insane thing she could have, like, it was so funny how she was so upset with Emily.
But it also totally sets up the relationship between.
Oh, it's so funny. But anyway,
Miss Bethany and her two daughters, how she treats them differently. Like, just that line, it's so informed. Like, it's so like good when you dissect it.
So I'll try to do a not super long-winded version of, like, Emily and where Emily came from. But basically, we went through a lot of different people before the show was actually made, in the sense that, like, we pitched it to a bajillion different people. We interviewed tons of different writers and producers to be attached. And the first thing we did before we were attached to Netflix was we got attached to some producers who we ended up not working with, but these were huge producers in Hollywood. Like, when they said they wanted to work with us, everyone, like, I mentioned their names to anyone in Hollywood, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's huge." Like, they do every big TV show in Los Angeles. Like, it's crazy, their resume, very talented producers. But it was clear quickly that, like, I was very flattered they wanted to be a part of the show, but they wanted to be part of the show because they thought this is going to be a great moneymaker for them. And so their vision of the show is much different than mine. Like we were talking about earlier, my vision was like, I want to make this, it's a Miranda show, and the vision I have is very bizarre and off and strange.
Yeah, what do you mean moneymaker? They wanted to
make it more
commercial somehow?
Yes, more commercial. And I wanted a more, like, indie feel to it. And so
they wanted, like, sitcom-y? What? I don't know what you mean by commercial.
Not sitcom-y,
like,
more
or
like
moneymaker.
Think like a family, like what's the show, Modern Family type of show, but like cleaner and more like everyone can watch it and everyone can get it and enjoy it, which is awesome. And we need those types of television shows, but that's kind of the feel they wanted for the show as well. And I think they definitely wanted it to be like a little kid show, like more of like a Nickelodeon type family show. And I knew that there was like more mature innuendos in our scripts. And what I had in mind, I wanted it to get really dark. My dream for the show, the only thing I had envisioned when we started writing it was it starts with Miranda uploading a video and wanting to be famous. And she has no views and no fame, but she has her family. And it ends, she finally gets the fame and the views, but she loses everyone on the way there. So I wanted the show to start and end with the same thing, like
you
her
had
at that
idea
computer.
In the
that was the
conceit?
only idea I had at the original conceit.
That's great.
I wanted to start and end
I love that.
with that. And so I knew it was going to end dark. I knew it was going to end her crying at the computer, having
I think that's so
destroyed
ballsy.
her.
Like, you know what I mean? That you're like, and you just stuck to your guns.
So,
and you found your home at Netflix eventually, which is like, at that time, they did not have a lot of original series, if people don't know. Like, they had House of Cards, Stranger Things hasn't come out yet. Now everything is a Netflix original series, but they had like 5 or less.
So the producers, anyway, I'm trying to get to the Emily point of it all.
Sure.
The producers, when we'd have meetings with them to talk about the conceit of the show, they, one of the biggest things they would always say is, this show reminds me of Alvin and the Chipmunks. It'll be the next Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Everybody was just comparing it to Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Not everyone, one of the producers. And the writers, we were all like, no, not really. We don't see that. I don't know where that comparison came from. Oh, Flynn's awake. Oh my gosh, Flynn's awake. So we're going to have to cut this short in a second. So basically we left those producers because we just had different visions, and we ended up finding an incredible production company that we love. And I'm still friends with the producers we worked with on the show. We all had the same vision. And then when we as writers got together, we were realizing we don't have a straight man in this show. Yeah. They're all kind of wacky characters. We need a straight man. We need like the Michael Bluth of Arrested Development. And so that's why we wanted Emily to be just like a very aware,
just to kind of ground it in some sort of reality, like all these bizarre
like
characters.
Kind of just like great characters. So that's where Emily came from.
Smart move.
Now, before we continue on, we are eating breakfast in this scene. So I feel like it's a great time to talk about food. And I want to talk about our next sponsor really quick, which is Imperfect Foods.
They're not perfect.
They're not perfect. And that's okay. And while I'm talking about Imperfect Foods, Erik's going to go get our son who just woke up from nap. Every year, billions of pounds of food go to waste, often because it doesn't live up to the strict cosmetic standards of grocery stores. Well, I have good news for you guys. There is a way that we can help prevent all that waste. Imperfect Foods is on a mission to reimagine grocery delivery for a kinder, less wasteful world. They deliver sustainable, affordable groceries, including produce, quality protein, eggs, and dairy, and pantry staples, straight to your door. Plus, they're always adding fun and tasty new discoveries for you to try each week. This is my favorite part of having Imperfect Foods, is that we get new fun things that I never would try normally. And I love trying new foods. I love trying new things. I get pretty bored with food pretty quickly. So the fact that I get to try new things is really exciting, and try to cook with new things, I love that. With Imperfect Foods, grocery shopping fits seamlessly into your life, and every week is a tasty adventure. All you have to do is sign up, create your flexible, personalized grocery plan, and then shop online each week and get affordable and sustainable groceries delivered directly to your door. Sign up with Imperfect Foods today to save time, save money, and save food from going to waste. This has been such a wonderful thing to have delivered to our home. I don't have to worry about going and get fresh produce. It just comes to my door, and I get to try new stuff. I love it. So right now, Imperfect Foods is offering our listeners 20% off plus free shipping on your first order when you go to imperfectfoods.com, and make sure to use promo code RELAX. Try Imperfect Foods now, and for a limited time, get 20% off plus free shipping on your first order. Go to imperfectfoods.com and use RELAX to sign up. Remember, everyone, it's worth it. You got to do it. That's 20% off plus free shipping at imperfectfoods.com. Offer code RELAX. Go check it out. All right, we're back. And now Flynn is playing with Uncle Coco so we can finish this episode. And I just know I'm talking way too much. I'm so sorry. I feel like totally nuts. I haven't watched this in years. I know, so it's like all these memories are coming up.
I said we should do this. You're like, oh, well, I'm not going to. It's just going to be silence then. And I'm like, no, I guaranteed you.
Yeah, he suggested we watch it. And as we watch it, I talk about it. And I was like, what if I just sit and watch it, though? Then I'm not talking. He's like, no, I know you, Colleen. You're going to talk the whole time.
Well, I thought the most compelling part would be like, honestly, watching you watch it, to quote Uncle Jim. Seeing you rewatch it for the first time since it came out.
I feel like I'd feel a totally different way about this if I could hear it, because hearing the music, I feel like would spark emotions in me, because writing the music was such an important part of the show too, like that I was very involved in, and it was really wonderful. And I love the score. It's so pretty.
It is.
Anyway, we hired an orchestra in Budapest to record the score, and I just love it. Our composer is amazing.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that it's not just like tracking. It's that like it's actually composed.
Mm-hmm. I just love that it was like
and performed by an orchestra.
I love that the score is a beautiful orchestra of pretty music, but there's always something like I always was like, can you put an oboe line in there? Like I really want an oboe because I love the sound of an oboe. It's just a little quirky and like interesting and off. So you have this beautiful orchestra, but then you'll have like plucking of a harp to have it like give that quirkiness, or
these were kind of notes in the communication that you had with our composer.
Yeah, who's amazing. Amutz, like he's so amazing. Anyway, we're going to keep watching.
It's great.
Anyway, he's so good. Okay, we're going to keep watching. And we're at the part where Emily is revealed, and we're talking about salami in the episode if you guys are watching along. So anyway, we reveal that Miranda has a sister, which was a big reveal and exciting. And we loved the energy it gave all the scenes of just like someone. It was like she's the eyes of the audience.
Yeah, and you kept it as a surprise. Like even like, because you were like teasing things out as we were filming, but that she even had a sister, you kept as a surprise the whole time.
Yeah. So, yeah, this whole first episode, I'm laughing in this entire scene. As we're watching, I'm just like watching myself laugh. So I'm like disappointed in myself for not keeping a straight face. I love this set so much. I feel like there's so much to say. I'm like, but I'm scared I'm talking too much. I feel like it's just going to come across me bragging about my show. So I'm like nervous. But yeah, this scene took way too long to shoot. It put us very behind schedule because I wouldn't stop laughing, which is very unprofessional of me.
You can literally see it. If you're watching it right now, or if you go watch it, you can see like
me laughing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
In the most wonderful way. You're like 90% in character.
All right, I'm pushing play again as Miranda runs into her bedroom to check the view count with Angela. That's also a great camera move.
Yeah, what a great move.
Our cameraman, Andy, who was, he did that.
The A camera op.
Yeah, he was a professional skier. And I think he skied in the Olympics. So he was very good at like, oh my gosh, Patrick watching all the videos.
I love that little bit. I thought that was so fun.
So funny, yeah.
And again, like it's like a cool move. It's not just static. Like
yeah.
Well, I haven't seen that. Like
yeah, that's such a great move. So yeah, the combination of like our amazing director Andrew and the DP who had just he made it look so cinematic, the show so pretty, even though it's disgusting and like weird and off, it's still so pretty to me. And our camera ops were so incredible because they're Olympic skiers apparently, which I found out later.
Well, that's like a natural transition of career.
Yeah. There's another thing about that. A lot of these shots are close to our face with a wide angle lens because it was a big concern of mine that I never look slightly attractive to anyone's opinion. Like I just wanted to look gross. And Andrew, our director, he was like, I want to shoot every close up with this wide angle lens because it distorts your face when you do that. Because you're not supposed to shoot close up with a wide lens. It will make you look very strange. And so that's what he did. So even though it looks like the camera might be a couple feet from our face, the camera is like, I'm not kidding, 2 inches, if that. Like the lens of the camera is like 2 to 5 inches from our face in those close-ups, to the point where most scenes that I had with Erik, if they're close up on us more, I feel like more in season 2, but like we weren't looking at each other. We weren't acting with each other.
There's a technical thing to where called an eye line as an actor, to where it's like how you're supposed to look and how your eyes look, where you're looking in the frame. But when you shoot that close up, your eye line has to be essentially like inside the lens, so you can't even make eye contact with the other actor. Yeah,
so a lot of my scenes with Erik were, I was looking at like a little piece of paper that was a photo printed of Eric's face, and that's what I would do my acting with.
That was fun.
So now I'm pushing play again. We're in Emily's high school, and she's talking to her friends, walking down the hall. This was a real high school, obviously, and we shot this on a weekday, so there was school happening when we shot this. And so everyone you see in the episode is an extra, they're actors. But we had to do it at specific times, get these shots, because the bell would ring and kids would be walking past through where we were shooting.
What was that called? Passing time? What did they call it in your high school?
I don't call what passing time, like in between, like breaks in between periods.
Yeah, what would they call it?
I don't know, breaks in between periods. I don't know.
I thought that was like a word for it.
I don't know.
I think it was passing time.
Yeah, it was very stressful to have to get these shots done, and then before the bell rang, and then we'd have to go to our trailers or to the green room or whatever while classes continued and went about their day, and kids would pass by.
The kids that went there, did they know who you were? Were they excited about that?
I didn't ask them. I don't know. I don't know. But this was a fun scene to shoot because I mostly just got to improv the whole time with the other students. Like, so I would just go up to them and talk to them and follow them around. And they were all extras who were told I was not going to interact with them, but then I ended up doing it. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emily, I feel like Francesca, She's cute. Francesca looks so young, first of all. And I feel like we actually look like sisters. Am I crazy? Like, I feel like we really, really do look like sisters.
Oh, it's great casting.
Yeah, we kind of based Emily's personality a little bit on like Rachel / me, just / any normal personality trait a human would have. We'd put it into Emily. Like we just wanted her to be the most bland, normal,
No, it's great. And it's such
person.
an important character, and she does a great job. It's awesome.
The OK Market, that sign is CGI. Christopher, my brother, typically came up with all of the names of all the different stores.
OK Market.
OK Market, all that kind of stuff. And this was the first day of shooting.
This guy's great.
Yeah, he's
Shout
really
out to this
good.
Guy, the customer.
The customer in the grocery store with Angela. So my mom in the show, Bethany, she works at a grocery store, and she's scanning out a customer, and all this was improv, and she was great. All the extras in this scene are really, really wonderful.
Like the literal first day of shooting the pilot, right?
Yeah, this was the actual first day of shooting the pilot. I was there, but I obviously wasn't in any scenes in the grocery store this season. And I went home after this day of shooting. It was my first day on set. It was my first day with all the crew and the cameras and all the actors and seeing the extras and the trailers and it was my first experience with all of that. And I went home and I went to my apartment in North Vancouver. I walked into my closet to change my clothes into like pajamas because it was late. And before I did, I just stood there and I just sobbed. I sobbed.
Really?
The happiest sob.
Oh, happy sobs.
Deep sob.
Also, the next morning you have to get up very early and then act in it.
I was just so grateful, and I felt like so unworthy of like all of this that it just really made me so emotional. Like I just thought, like, why me? Like, how did this happen to me? I felt very lucky. All right, so now we're in the scene where Miranda is refreshing her new YouTube video she uploaded, and she's looking at the YouTube comments. And I respond to a comment that's name is CatLover13 or CatLover133, and that was my AIM name. So that's how we came up with that. When I was 13 years old, I had an AIM Instant Messenger.
AOL Instant Messenger, yeah.
My first one was I'm a Cat Lover 13. And so we made that one I'm a Cat Lover 133. Just there's a lot of little things like that. Would you spend a
lot of time on there? Would you talk on AOL Instant Messenger a lot?
When I was not really. That I can remember. I don't think so. I don't think I was allowed on there's like back in my day, there's one computer for the whole family and it was in the living room. So it's like, you didn't spend a lot of time on it. So Miranda in this part of the episode, she gets her first hate comment that says, "You suck. You should stop singing." And so Miranda and Uncle Jim are trying to come up with a response. And I'm kind of talking back and forth to this hater. And the hater says, like, "Stop singing." And I say, "Or what?" And the hater says, "Or you're going to regret it." And I think that they're threatening me and my life. So Miranda starts like panicking and thinks that there's a stalker and killer on the loose trying to hurt her. So that's what's going on in this scene. Well, in case people aren't watching along, I'm just letting them know.
Do you remember specifically like at first getting hate comments for Miranda? Like, people believing Miranda was a real person.
That was all I had at the beginning.
What was that like to be like, I'm just going to make this joke character, and then people thinking that it's a real person and hating that real person?
Well, I'm going to pause it because Patrick just entered. So if you're watching along, pause it on Patrick.
I'm interested in like the kind of origin of like the history of this, because this, like, in a weird way, really happened to you. Mm-hmm. So you've created this character, you've put her online as a joke to your friends. Mm-hmm. And then a certain part of the population believes this to be a real person and hates this person and wants to tell this person they hate them. Mm-hmm. Was that strange to you to see? Like, how did you react to it?
Yeah, of course it was strange because it was new. Like, YouTube was new when I started doing Miranda. And so the fact that anyone who didn't know me was watching my videos was weird to me.
What a weird concept, yeah.
And to me, it was
You're not my friend. Why are you watching my videos? Yeah.
To me, it was also very weird that, like, people were watching this character that to me was so obviously a character and thinking she was real. That was really interesting to me that people thought she was real.
Yeah.
And so once they thought that, I was like, oh, I've got to keep this going. Like, they think she's real. That's so funny.
You like leaned into it, so to speak.
Yeah. And so when I'd get hate comments, it never hurt my feelings in the beginning because I was like, they're hating on someone who doesn't exist. Right. Like, and they think she's real. Like, that's so funny. So to me, it didn't hurt my feelings that much. But I wanted to keep the gag up of, like, people thought she was real. And I thought that would be like the whole point of that was how I was going to succeed, is if people never knew who I was as Colleen Ballinger. Like if the only way my career would continue going forward with this Miranda girl is if no one ever knew me.
Just stay in character all the time.
Staying like Andy Kaufman-esque. Yeah. So, and I remember I got advice from, I don't know if I've ever said his name, but Sean Hayes, he got to know he saw the character and liked it. And we went to lunch. He's very, very sweet, like lovely. And he gave me that advice. You know, he was like, you've got to delete anything that says your real name because people like her because they think she's real. And he was right at the time. That was true.
Yeah, like at the time, that makes sense.
So he wasn't saying like hide who you are. He was just like, I think the reason people are interested is because they're trying to figure out if you're real or not. Like you shouldn't like let people know you're real. And so I didn't for a very long time. But
so when you did live shows as Miranda,
in the beginning, I would go in character and leave in character. I'd only break for like a few people.
Like the whole time?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Like I'd walk to and from the venue dressed like Miranda. In New York City was where I would start doing shows. And my gigs in the beginning were small. Like they weren't like audiences of Miranda fans. They were like just audiences of people out for like to go to a drag show or something.
Versus like being there interacting with humans.
Yeah, I'd usually just sit at a table by myself, like scowling as Miranda, and like some people might come up to me and be like, "I'm a fan," and I just
be
like,
a
"Okay."
Fly on the wall. I wish I just
hours.
to be there
I would
and
sit,
see
like,
that.
Waiting for my turn to go on stage.
I would kill just to be there to see that happen.
So weird. But we're gonna keep watching this episode, or we're never gonna get through it. Erik just entered the scene as Patrick, and it is because he saw that there was a hate comment, and so he comes over with his swords,
thinking that her life is in danger.
And Bethany walks in with snacks, which is Vienna sausage, like wieners in a can, which I actually used to eat as a kid. So it was another one of those things in the writer's room where they're like, Bethany's making Miranda a snack, and the writers will be like, okay, well, what is she making? Because the props team is going to need to know what kind of food to put on here. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And they'd be like, what did you eat a lot as a kid as a snack? I'm like, I don't know, like chips and Vienna sausages.
Ate those a lot as a kid?
All the time. Well, Vienna sausages, yeah.
Would your mom just put toothpicks in the can like that?
No. That was added by...
absolutely disgusting. And I ate a very large amount of those wieners that day.
And Erik just put one in his mouth and spit it out and handed it to me, and I ate it. And that was improv from Mr. Stocklin. Yeah. And luckily I went along with him. But basically in the script, it just says that Patrick tests it to make sure they're not poisoned, the Vienna sausages. And then Miranda is like, oh, they're safe because Patrick tried it first. So then she starts eating it. So instead of eating it, he put it in his mouth, slides it out of his lips, like spits it out and hands it to me. And then I just immediately eat it.
Like I was like, Patrick would like feel out the whole thing with his mouth and then be like, it's good. And then hand it to her.
And I ate it. And so that was improv. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just eating like these. We must have done the scene so many times because you always do. And I ate a lot of the Vienna sausage wieners that were in Erik's mouth that day. So now we're in the fish store scene.
What a thing to say out loud and then move on.
We're on the fish store scene, and Harvey Guillen is the fish store manager, who's a very good friend of mine. I've known Harvey for such a long time. So he's great. But anyway, I love him. And it was really cool to have a friend up there with me shooting the show that I've known for so long. I've known Harvey for over a decade.
Are there any live fish in any of these fish tanks?
There are live fish in these fish tanks.
I don't think there were. I think there were.
No, there really were. There were live fish. That's why this day was a nightmare, because we had live animals on set. There were live fish.
I don't remember any live fish.
Oh yeah, there were live fish, and it was a big drama. And so we had a lot of fake fish in a lot of the fish tanks, but there were live fish too. And we eventually were like, just cut the live fish, like let them go, and we'll just have the fake ones for the rest of the day. But there were live fish on set. And anytime you have live animals on set, it's like a big to-do.
Oh, that's another thing I stole was a Fish Easy t-shirt. Like I have
You
that.
did?
I have that shirt. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And there's Erik swinging swords.
So just for that little shot, just for this little shot of me kind of twirling swords, I had like stunt rehearsals. I worked with a sword fighting expert, like which is all great and fun. And also I was with a Shakespeare company for 5 years, so I had lots of experience with sword fighting. But I just thought it would be like more like the forefront, which how much independent rehearsal from actual shooting I would have to do. And on this shooting day, I think I spent 8 hours just in the background, standing outside the store, swirling around swords. Could have been more featured. Just saying. Good, maybe an edit note, like if you...
I know, but we didn't have an exterior. This is a set. And so we couldn't shoot from the outside because...
Yeah, this is not an actual store. It's a whole fake store built on a soundstage.
Yeah, so we couldn't shoot outside the store.
But just so you guys know, I trained for hours.
I know.
And then would go home and practice twirling the swords around for what you just saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Erik had to do a lot of training and a lot of classes for different things he did on the show that aren't
magic, swords,
color guard.
Color guard. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, this guy who is in the fish store with me in the commercial, the FedEx man who walks into this fish store scene, he's a YouTuber, and he's not just a YouTuber. He's like a talented actor and comedian, and I'm sure he produces a lot of stuff. But I had seen his YouTube videos. They did this thing called like board shorts, where it was like they took the audio of their kids talking about stuff, and they as adults would lip sync to their kids talking. Those, and they were so funny. And when we were looking for someone to play that role, I remembered that he was Canadian.
Oh, you reached out to him? That he didn't like submit? Did he submit for it? And you're like, I recognize that guy from those videos, or was it?
I don't remember. No, you know what? I think he auditioned for Uncle Jim. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I watched his audition, I was like, he's so good. And he does his YouTube channel. That's what it was. And then I was like, oh, he should play this other part. And he was great. Where
does the fibromyalgia and the brace come from? Is that from any real life thing?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
So I know people who make up ailments for themselves that aren't real. So fibromyalgia is a real thing, and it's like debilitating for people, and it's like really awful for people who have it. It's really horrible. And
but for Bethany
is like desperate to have anyone care about her. And so she's constantly making up these ailments to try to get someone to care about her, and still no one does. And that was kind of her like big flip in the season. Spoiler alert, is that in the end, she actually does end up getting something terrifying and she needs help, where, she spent her life faking these things for attention. And then she finally does get one. That comes from
a real place in your writing?
Yes. In my life. Yeah. Not me, but like I do know people who have done that and have made up things to, which is very insensitive to people who actually struggle with it.
Who?
I'm not telling you. Okay. So anyway, now Erik and Steve, or Uncle Jim and Patrick, looks so fake.
It was really hard to make it look real. The amount of time we spent, first of all, it was so hard to keep a straight face working with Steve.
They're stuffing gravel in fish, by the way, right now.
Right. Yeah. But like they had these real like
lifelike looking fish.
And we're supposed to put gravel in their mouths to make I don't know, like it was so impossibly funny working with Steve at that moment, but also like the fish wouldn't do the exact thing that camera wanted it to do.
Yeah. I
just remember that was hours. That little moment you just saw was like hours of trying to make it work.
We shot this scene over 2 days, this fish store scene.
Yeah, this one scene took 2 full days to shoot.
Because there was so much going on. We had live fish, we had the fake fish that needed to look real, and we had all these different characters being shot all over. Like it was me and the FedEx guy in one corner, and Emily enters, and Bethany enters, and there's the camera, and there's Harvey. There's like so much going on. It took so long to shoot this. The tape. But yeah, it was really funny. Just we could have watched Steve and Erik try to get the fish to look real on that fish tank for so long. Like it was so hysterical.
See, I think I was literally, I'm like about to laugh here. Like I feel like you cut so much of me laughing.
You barely ever broke character, actually.
I thought that the joke that she thought the avatar, like the simple blue outline of an avatar, like a pictureless profile, like she thought that was a real person. And then she sees it through the fish tank. I thought that was such a clever joke and reveal. Like it's such a good button on the first episode. Like that's when I was like, oh, this is there's great writers behind this. There's a great team. You know what I mean? Like the jokes are so well fleshed out.
Thanks. So this part, yeah, I agree. And that's all due to the writers. The writers are so amazing. Yeah. Patrick this in slow-mo coming at this, Miranda thinks she's found the killer, and Patrick is coming at him with a sword about to kill him.
Also,
stunt double.
I could have done that, but that's a stunt double.
That was
a great shoulder roll there.
The shoulder roll that Patrick does in the fish store is this stunt double.
I'd like to claim it, but
yeah. So basically, Emily in this scene admits that she's the one who left the hate comment, and it's so sad.
Also, such a great reveal. Like,
Great. The writing of this show was so fun. Like, it's so funny watching these scenes. The thing I really think about is like the writer's room and coming up with the bits, you know, like coming up with taping the fish on the wall. I'm pausing it right now. If you're watching, I just paused as it zooms in on Miranda on her bed, sad. But I just remember like the thing with you and Jim trying to get the fish to float that are dead in the fish tank. You know, I remember in the writer's room, us just going off one another. There's 6 writers on the show. And I just remember us laughing hysterically, going like, okay, so the fish died. And so how do they get them? And then, you know, Christopher or Justin or someone pitches like, what if they like start putting the gravel in the mouths to try to get them to float? But not too much gravel, just enough gravel. And then that doesn't work. And then we're just coming up with all the different ideas of how they would try to get the fish to float. And then they end up taping them to the side. But I just remember being in the writer's room and all of us would go and just add on. And then they do this. And we would just laugh hysterically writing the show. Like, I laughed so hard in that writer's room every day, coming up with the dumb stuff we were going to make all of us do. Mm-hmm. And Christopher, my brother, who's my co-writer on the show and co-producer and co-creator, he is so funny and he's so good at coming up with these weird situations. I think it's the writers are so good.
It's such a tightly written like show, and the payoffs are so great. Like, it's extremely well done. So kudos to you guys. And it sounds like a very fun job. It
was so much fun. We do need to take a quick little break to talk about our next sponsor, which is Curtsy. After living in sweatpants and leggings all year, I decided to freshen up my wardrobe, so I started shopping on Curtsy. It's super cool because they have the coolest pieces at thrift store prices delivered right to you. I love Curtsy because you're shopping from real women in your size and style. It's easy to use, and there's some amazing deals. No need to sort through thousands of items that aren't your style or size. I saw Lululemon tops on there for $20 and Lululemon leggings for only $40, which is just shocking. Like, those are so expensive normally.
I saw haters back off props on there.
No, you didn't. The app has awesome brands like Nike, Urban Outfitters, Princess Polly, Champion, Free People, Levi's, all this stuff up to 70% off. Selling clothes is actually such a pain normally, which is why a lot of people's closets are overflowing with unwanted clothes. But Curtsy makes the selling process so easy, literally anyone can do it. Curtsy also suggests prices for your items, which is very helpful. If you don't have a printer, they'll mail you a shipping label for free. It's so awesome. And the coolest part is when you get to instantly cash out to your debit card. I love how easy it is to use, and it makes me feel better to buy clothes from other women instead of from huge corporations. I feel like I'm supporting other women, and it's also like thrift shopping. It's like,
what about all my clothes?
What about your clothes? It's for women. Sorry. If you want a sustainable way to get Brandy, Urban, Champion, and Lululemon delivered directly to your door, download Curtsy today and enter promo code RELAX for 15% off your first order. Search for Curtsy in the App Store, spelled Curtsy, and enter promo code RELAX for 15% off your first order. Download the Curtsy app and enter promo code RELAX. All right, we're going to finish this episode now. So Miranda's very sad. Yeah, this was a cool shot. The house, our house was a set, obviously, and it didn't have a ceiling so that we could shoot from above.
Fun fact.
This
scene is so great because it puts so much heart behind all this craziness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's to see you be like this wild like character, and then have so much honest emotion and kind of just saying you're a great actress. Like,
Lovey, I don't know about that.
What?
Yeah, that was like our goal of the show, was kind of to give human.
You made her real. How do you make that character like so real?
I don't know. That was the kind of the goal.
Well, you do as a performer and writer of it.
Well, I know people like Miranda. And I think that was the appeal of Miranda in the beginning when people were trying to figure out if she was real or not. It was because they know people like it. Like, everyone knows someone who's a little bit like unaware of themselves. And I don't know. It was very interesting to me, the idea of trying to make a character who's not likable, trying to get an audience to like someone that's not likable. I liked that.
Yeah.
And to root for someone who's a jerk. Like, Miranda's a jerk. She's a brat and she's a jerk. And so to get people to see that she's human. I don't know. It was an interesting challenge. That was kind of fun. This scene was a really fun scene to do with Francesca, to have like a cute, like little sweet sister moment. And to see Miranda be bothered by hate comments for the first time.
Yeah, you guys are both so great in the scene. Well, had you cried on camera before, like as an actor?
No, never.
Was that stressful? Like, because I know for me, like to be on set being like, okay, I know I have to cry in this scene. Was that something that like stressed you out? Like, well, how do I get tears in this moment? Or were you just like, it's going to happen, or did it just happen naturally?
It was really weird because like I had never cried on camera. Not that I can think of. I've never really done any big projects really. And no, I'd never cried on camera before. And I knew I needed to, but I wasn't too concerned about it. I just thought, I'll think of something sad. That's what I thought. I thought, I'll just think of something that would make me cry. Like, that's what I thought I would do. I thought I'd go on in the room. And
was that from an acting class you had taken, or?
No, I just thought like, to cry. Okay, I guess I'll just think of something super, super sad. And I thought of like the most horrible scenario you could possibly imagine that I won't even speak out loud, like a tragic, awful thing happening. And that's what I thought I would do. So the first take, that's not method, because I was thinking of something that horrible could happen to me in my life. And I kind of got there, but it was hard. And, but then I just was like, okay, after the first take, I was like, okay, you're Miranda. Like your sister just betrayed you and said something so mean. Like, and that put it in perspective for me. Cause I was like, if Rachel left a comment like that for me, I would be devastated. And so it immediately made me cry. And then for the rest of the time, any scene I had to do where I was crying, I was just like, oh, I'm Miranda and what's going on in Miranda's life.
Yeah.
And it was easy to cry because it just made sense.
Like emotional circumstance like that. Like, yeah, it's like, well, it has to be like, it's in the moment and it's in the reality of the situation.
Right.
Like, I don't like go to like personal thoughts or tragedies to try and bring about emotion. Like it has to be within like the, what you're playing.
Yeah, that's
exactly interesting that like clicked with you.
Yeah,
in
and
that moment.
I didn't know. No one taught me how to like cry on command or whatever. So I thought my brain was like, oh, just think of something sad. I think your instincts
were right. Yeah.
And then that didn't really work. And so then I was like, I just need to be Miranda right now.
Just
like
you
just found out what just like think about if you were actually this person and this happened to you, how would you feel? And it made me cry. But it was also a very stressful situation because we were going overtime. And so the producers were screaming.
Was that like the last scene of the day?
Mm-hmm. The producers were screaming, we gotta move. And so the AD had just come in and been like, okay, everyone, this is an emotional scene. Colleen needs to cry. So we need complete silence on set. And Colleen, whenever you're ready, you just say, I'm ready. And we'll say action,? And so it's silent on set. And 3 seconds later, I'm like, okay, we do the first take and they want to do it again. So they're like, all right, quiet on set. Colleen, when you're ready. And it's silent for 1 second. You hear a producer go, hurry it up, like screaming. I was like, oh no. But yeah. Anyway, that was the final scene of this where we throw the computer on the ground and it like sparks.
So much fun.
That was such a hectic, fun scene to shoot. But it was scary because that was like, that happened there. Like we threw the computer on the ground and it did spark. It was a special effect that was really cool. And we didn't have like a stunt double doing it. Like I threw it on the ground. And
it's so fun as an actor when you get to break or smash something. Yeah. And they like have multiple of those things so you could smash them.
Well, they didn't.
Take after take. They didn't?
No, that was it. And so it was super cool. So yeah, that's the episode, I guess. The end. There's the episode.
What was it? What did it feel like as this idea that had been in your head for years after you had finished the first episode?
Just now, like, what am I thinking? Like, when...
Well, we'll get to that next, but like in the moment when you finished it, were you...
Oh, in the moment when I finished.
When it was like, all right, we just finished episode 1, now let's do episode 2. Like, were you...
Well, we block shot it, so we actually did 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time.
Oh, that is true, isn't it?
So yeah, we did 3, 2, 3. We how we shot it in Vancouver was we shot the first 3 episodes all
I know we shot them in
2
blocks,
weeks.
But I feel like like episode 1 we got like done first.
Nope. The first scene we shot was the rain scene. That's episode 3.
Oh, yeah.
So
right.
all of the scenes in the first 3 episodes we shot that were outside, we shot in one day. So the whole day, Erik and I were outside popsicle stick eating popsicles because we shot every single outdoor scene on that day.
From block 1.
From block 1, from episode 1, 2, and 3. So any scene outside we shot in one day. And then the next block was the second or the next 2 episodes. And then the final block was the 3 episodes. So each block was like 2.5 weeks ish, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks or something like that. I don't remember. was, I don't know, my brain's melting. I don't know anything anymore.
Well, how do you feel now? Like you haven't seen this show in years, and now watching it on your child's iPad.
Well, it's not his iPad, first of all. It's our iPad that sometimes he watches cartoons on. But I don't know because I couldn't hear it. I feel like hearing it would be different. And the fact that I had a task while doing it helped because I was like, oh, my job right now is to tell stories about this. It wasn't like I sat and like enjoyed it. So I don't really feel any kind of way.
You didn't hear it, even though we're watching it with the sound off? Like you didn't hear it? Like I could hear it.
No,
you know
I was just like, I was very stressed. I was like watching it going like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And I want to tell a story about this prop and I want to tell a story about this thing. And I want to tell a story.
You don't
like,
seem stressed.
Oh my God. I wanted to tell a million stories, shockingly, a million more than I actually told. And so it was kind of just like very stressful to watch it. But like, I want to watch it. And now I think here's what it did do. It made me want to watch it in our own time.
But like
just to enjoy it.
Do you think you can, I think, if anything, for me, like personally out of this, what I would love would be for you to like enjoy it and appreciate like what an achievement it is to like have come up with an idea and then made it into a script.
Yeah.
And then someone bought the script. And then they're like, we're actually going to make it. It's going to go straight to series on a platform like Netflix. And we're going to let you cast and make this whole and write and make this whole thing. And then we're going to make a season 2. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it doesn't happen.
I know it
never
doesn't.
happens.
Yeah,
and
I know.
it's something I think you should be so proud of. And even me as an actor, just my small part in it, just as an actor, like I'm so proud of the show. And I think everyone should go and watch it. And
yeah, I want to watch it again and just like sit and enjoy it with you and not be stressed about telling stories, you know. Like that would be enjoyable for me.
Right, but you've had this opportunity for years since, and you've shied from watching it or enjoying it because
it's very sensitive to me to like that it's over. I think I'm like sad about the fact that I'm so grateful that it happened and I am so proud of it. I just think like it's just so weird that chapter is over because I worked on it for so many years.
Yeah.
So that it is kind of weird that I'm like, oh, that chapter of my life is done. It feels weird.
Well, what it did for me was make me really excited to see what you do next.
Oh, thanks.
Like I'm really excited to see.
I'm excited to see
what that awesome brain of yours and body
love it
comes up with next. Like,
well, I can tell you what it's doing next.
It's just gonna be an ad.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Because it's time for an ad. An ad for Function of Beauty, which you love, Lovey. Function of Beauty.
The shampoo and conditioner?
Yes. Well, they've got more than that.
Sure, they're more than that.
Yeah, listen, we've all got goals. Be healthy, find work-life balance, improve our relationships, make another TV show. You know, we all have these
goals. What do you need to improve about this?
Well, have you thought about your hair goals, love? Have you, listeners, thought about your hair goals? I'm talking about frizz.
Okay.
Function of Beauty is the world leader in customizable beauty, offering precise formulations for your hair's specific needs. Here's how to get started. First, take a quick but thorough quiz to tell them a little about your hair type and your hair goals, such as lengthen, volumize, and oil control, etc. And because your hair changes with the season, you can change your hair goals before every shipment. Next, you choose your color and fragrance, or go fragrance and dye free. Then, Function's team determines the perfect blend of ingredients, bottles your formula, and delivers it right to you. Every ingredient Function of Beauty uses is vegan and cruelty-free, and they never use sulfates or parabens. You can also go completely silicone-free. There are over 54 trillion possible formulations, and Function of Beauty has over 50,000 five-star reviews. And Function of Beauty offers completely personalized formulas for body and skincare as well, so you can customize your beauty routine from hair to toe. Never buy off the shelf just to be disappointed ever again. Go to functionofbeauty.com/relax to take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. Lovey, I've been using Function of Beauty for a long time.
Is that what you're going to ask?
No, I was going to say, have you noticed?
I'm just offering eucalyptus.
I feel like you've been using
it
for like a month. Like, how are you feeling? How's your hair feeling?
You want to know how I'm feeling?
Oh my gosh, we got a hair toss in here. I've noticed your hair smells really nice, to be honest.
Well, you knew me. Like I'd been like it's all in one bottle kind of guy. Now I have it's weird, the concept having two separate bottles, one for shampoo, one for conditioner.
Yeah, it's all new to you.
Even still, I'm like, should I just squirt them both in my hand at the
No,
same time and put them
Harvey,
in?
oh
Like,
my
do them
gosh.
separately? Like, I don't know.
It's really wonderful. You guys should check it out. Go to functionofbeauty.com/relax to let them know that we sent you and get 20% off your order. That's functionofbeauty.com/relax. Check it out, guys. This has been really fun. I did ask you guys for questions. I'm going to try to get through a few because we basically have the longest episode probably we've ever done. But there's a lot of great questions about this. I asked on Twitter and on Instagram. So some people said, okay, here's one. I saw this one a lot. Did Erik have to learn how to do tricks with the swords? And yes, I think you can go into that a little more.
Yes and no. I had been with a Shakespeare company for a few years on the East Coast before moving out here. So, and if you don't know, like Shakespeare's plays have lots of sword fights in them. Richard III, Romeo and Juliet. These are all shows where I've worked with professional fight choreographers and had to learn sword fighting, bow staff fighting, all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was familiar with it. But yeah, even still for this show, yeah, I worked with a fight choreographer and had separate rehearsals multiple times in a dance studio, twirling around swords, and then was given my own prop swords to take home with me, which of course, like I'm alone in like an apartment in Vancouver and don't know anybody. I'm just like sitting there twirling swords
and doing magic tricks
and talking to your brother about like, well, how do I do this magic trick? And
going to magic shops. I remember on your time off, you'd go to magic shops.
Yeah, I had a day off and I found a magic shop in Vancouver and like had to take a ferry there and bought like every magic trick I could find just to like practice them. It was really fun to be like completely immersed in all of that.
Yeah, it was.
You saw that question a lot?
Yeah, I saw it a few times asking about like you sword fighting stuff.
So fun.
I answered a lot of the questions while we were watching, but Isabel said, what scene took the longest to film?
Fish store
was 2 days. Yeah, probably fish store. Yeah, it was 2 days. I think that one definitely would have been the longest in that first episode, for sure.
Yeah, other than that, it seems like the breakfast scene for you guys.
Yeah, but that was just because I was laughing, not because of technical issues. So
yeah, it depended on like, and also how much like improv would happen and if we had time to play.
Yeah.
Which wasn't often.
Someone said, what is something that was in the first draft on Haters Back Off that you wish was in the show now? There was a lot in the first draft that's not in the show now, but I don't know that I wish it was in there. I think everything that's in there is what we wanted in there. But Erik, there was a draft of an episode. If we ever get to it, maybe I'll get more in depth. I think it's episode 2, where Emily had a whole storyline that changed. And I remember you years later asking me like, hey, how come Emily's storyline changed? I really liked that first draft. I remember getting the new draft and being like, what? So there used to be a storyline in episode 2 where Emily she was home alone and she loved being home alone. And Patrick interacts with Emily when he goes into the house to confront or to console Miranda in the closet. Miranda's crying and upset in the closet and Patrick comes in to console her. But Emily's there. He's looking for Miranda or something. But anyway, she's desperately trying to get Patrick out of the house. She's trying to get everyone out of the house because she wants to be alone in the house. Because when no one's home, she cleans the entire house. So it's like nice and clean and beautiful. And then when everyone comes home, she messes it back up again. It was like something we gave to Emily randomly.
It's like my life now.
And then the other thing about Emily that we thought about putting in and then we didn't was we thought about we wanted to give her a talent, obviously, and we made her a painter. But originally we wanted her to be a dancer because we had looked up Francesca and we saw that she was a gymnast, like a very, very talented gymnast and dancer. And so we saw a video of her doing a gymnastics routine and there was dancing in it. And I was like, oh, maybe she's a dancer. And then we realized, we didn't want her talent to be something that was one of Miranda's quote unquote talents.
That makes sense, yeah.
So then we made her a painter.
I think a painter is better.
Yeah,
me too. I think that really works.
Yeah, all these questions I'm looking through, we basically answered. How'd you come up with the name of the fish store, which is Fish Easy or Fashizi?
Is that what it is?
That's what it is, yeah.
I never knew that.
It's Christopher. My brother is very good at that kind of stuff.
He is Mr. Pun, isn't he?
So it's Fish Easy. And I remember we were trying to come up with a name for the fish store and he's like, Fish Easy. And we were like, what? And he's like, Fashizi. And I was like, Fashizi. You're so lame.
Like, no one has ever made that connection.
I can't believe it. Fish Easy.
But like once you hear it, it's pretty so great.
Good. Yeah. So my brother came up with that one. Let's see. which scene did each of you film first in the show? It was we both filmed
we both rain. That was your first scene too, right?
Mm-hmm. And when I call Ben Stiller.
When you call Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alicia,
how'd you get him? Can you, or should we save that for the next episode, I guess?
We can
how you got him in the show. We'll save it, yeah.
Okay. Alicia said, did you have any input in the camera angles and the way scenes were filmed? You know, in season 1, I really trusted the directors we had. We had 2 directors for season 1 that directed different episodes. And Andrew Gaynor directed 6 and Todd Rohal directed 2. And they're both great. And I really trusted them. But they did let me have input. If I had an idea or if there's something I wanted, they were really great about hearing me out. But they were so great. I didn't have too much. And I had no directing experience. I had no experience with cameras in that way. But season 2, I became so passionate about it because I got to experience the whole thing in season 1 and work with them and be in the editing room and see what shots we needed and what shots looked like.
I think you're ready. You're ready to spread your wings and fly. You're ready to direct.
Season 2, we had different directors for season 2, and they were all so great and wonderful, but they were very collaborative, and they really let me help and tell them what I wanted and what angles I wanted. And I remember one director, he's amazing, and we were shooting the scene in season 2 where the camera wraps around in the hospital around Patrick and Miranda, and we were about to shoot the scene, and he was going to shoot it how he usually shot the scenes, and I just destroyed everyone's dreams that day. And I was like, I really want this wraparound shot. I think it would be beautiful if we did this. And I kind of explained the whole shot, and they looked at me like, you're an insane person. And then they got on board, and it's one of my favorite shots. Not that I think I'm responsible for this great shot. It was all them. They're the ones with the talent and know how to do that stuff. But I'm just saying, I'm so grateful they were so collaborative with me and let me help come up with shots. And the first 2 episodes of season 2, Brian Danley directed, and he directed the movie Saved, which is one of my favorite movies ever. And
it's a great movie.
He is wonderful. Mm-hmm. And he, before every shot, sat down with me and was like, this is how I was thinking of shooting this scene. What ideas did you have? I want to make sure that this looks how you want it to look. And he was so freaking collaborative, and he taught me so much. So I did have input, but we had wonderful directors, and it's their job to direct. And so luckily they were collaborative, but I also trusted them because they were incredible. So yeah, that's that. Someone asked, was that someone's real house you guys filmed at?
Yes.
And no.
Was it empty?
Well, the outside was real.
Uh-huh.
And the inside was not real.
Oh, well, but the house we filmed outside of, a woman did live there, mm-hmm. and we were well aware of her because she was hilarious.
And she was there when we would shoot it.
And she would just sit inside watching television while we shot all those scenes outside of her house all day and night.
Right. So when I had to start in the house, which was most scenes, and then walk out to get the popsicle or whatever, I would be in the house with her, sitting in the living room watching some TV show. And she never talked to me, but she seemed very sweet. I didn't want to bother her, so I just stand right inside, but she was always there. And I remember in the final episode of the final season, I had to run out crying. And so I had to prep crying in the house. So I'm just standing 4 feet from this really sweet woman, trying to cry, but also very aware that she was right there. It was very strange, but she was very sweet.
Did someone
I farted. Yes,
in this
I
situation?
farted. Yeah, I farted.
I knew what I was gonna
Not
say.
in that scene, but it was a different scene.
But in front of her, and then had to enter into a scene.
I didn't know she was in there, and so I was about to go out to do a scene, and I farted, and it was loud, and then I heard a noise, and I looked over, and she was sitting in the living room, and I was
they were like, action.
Yeah, it was very, very, very embarrassing. Someone else asked, a lot of people asked about the time era. Sometimes it feels like it's the 90s. Sometimes it feels present day. That's how we wanted it to feel. So I'm glad we achieved that, but it also maybe annoyed people that they can't tell. But
I like that it's kind of
what? And then one more question. Did you all film each episode in order? And like we said, no, we did this block shooting schedule because it's makes more sense financially to do it that way. So we didn't have to keep going back to the house every episode.
Yeah, the location wise.
So each episode took 4 days to shoot technically, but so each block was
which is wild. That's
12
very
days.
Short.
So it was
they
2 weeks.
Rushed it a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a very short amount of time for an episode, and the amount of pages they would want to do a day. It was very ambitious.
Yeah, because
budget wise,
this is mumbo jumbo to most people, but most TV episodes with commercials on a major network. I mean, how long is that? 20 minutes, 18 minutes of actual showtime. And on Netflix, there's no commercials. So we actually got 30, sometimes 35-minute episodes. So to shoot 35 minutes of an episode in the same amount of time, like time frame that you would shoot 18 minutes of an episode,
right,
is impossible. And we never made our days.
And they would be like,
impossible.
Just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there'd just be someone as you're trying to cry,
screaming,
yelling,
we gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah.
So that's how we did both seasons. We did the first 3 episodes in 2 weeks, and then we'd shoot the second 2 episodes in 2 weeks, and then we'd shoot the last 3 episodes in 2 weeks. And that's how we shot the show. And so it was weird because you'd have days where like there was one day where I shot episode 8, I'm crying and like all alone. It was very devastating, and I was crying, screaming at Bethany, and she's screaming at me, and it was really emotional and really draining. And I cried most of the day, like sobbed most of the day. And then we wrapped those scenes, and they went and they put tea bags on my eyes to try to get the swelling to go down. And then I went and did the Mattress Queen store, which was all improv and comedy. But I'd been sobbing. I don't know what kind of tea it was, but they said it helps.
Is that a thing?
I guess they put wet, like warm tea bags on my eyes. I don't know what it was.
Chamomile? I
know green tea helps styes, because I use that when I get styes.
Maybe it was green tea.
I don't know. But they just put it underneath my eyes to help the swelling go down. But, that's how crazy it was to block shoot, because it was like I'd be doing the final scene. The show is done. Miranda's crying alone at the computer. The episode's over. The season is over. And I had the feeling of like, oh, I did it. And then it was like, no, actually, now you have to go do improv with these 2 incredible comedic actors and be funny. And that was very hard.
Yeah, for me, it was different. It was like all my stuff kept getting pushed. And so in the last block of me shooting, they were like, it's all going to be done in one day. So in a single day, I did me on the horse, me in the
magic box,
in the magic box, and me in the float. Was all in one single day. Like all of my stuff had somehow got pushed all the way to the end because of scheduling. And so for those last 3 episodes, I was like, it was so intense and crazy to have to do all that.
Yeah, we all talked about how bad we felt for Erik that day, because
was
bad. He even downplays it a little bit. Like the inside of the float was like the first romantic scene. So it's like the first time Miranda has ever kissed anyone, whatever. So it's our kissing scene. And so that was a big deal. And it was like inside this huge cutout of a float
I'm
on
actually
a platform, riding a
bicycle.
And then this magic box
hours.
scene where there's knives being shoved, and he's like on a harness with Bethany, with Angela, like, and they're all like pretzeled into each other with knives being shoved by their faces.
Flow, and by the way, they were also spraying me in the face with water between every take. Like it was,
and then wiping my lipstick off of your face. And then the final one is a horse. He has to be on a horse in front of a green screen. So his that day was crazy.
That was in a single
for Erik.
day. Yeah, I can't believe.
And it was shot in the middle of the night because our days kept getting pushed.
When I got on that horse, eventually that was the last thing we did. That was 4 a.m.
Yeah. It was crazy. So anyway, there you go. I don't know. Was this a mess, guys? Did you enjoy this? Was this a horrible idea for a podcast
for me
episode?
Because like you haven't you haven't watched it. We haven't watched it. We haven't really even talked about it. So to like kind of sit down and watch it and talk about it was really, really fun for me.
It was very strange. I don't know how it was to listen to, but it was fun to watch it. It makes me want to watch it just you and me and like just enjoy it. And but it was fun. What do you guys think? Do you want us to do this again? Should we do another episode? Do you want us to, would you rather us just answer questions? I know it was kind of chaotic with me going like, okay, pause and play and pause and play. And like, I don't know. I've never done this before. It was very stressful for me. So what are your thoughts? How do you feel? We love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the things.
Our first ever all denim episode of the podcast.
Oh yeah. Erik's wearing all denim. You can't see his pants, but he's wearing full on.
They can see my pants.
Oh, good.
Well, I guess if they're listening, they can't see any of it.
But yeah, Erik's an all denim.
The first ever all denim podcast.
In the world?
That I know of.
I don't know that. I'm sure someone somewhere has worn all denim in a podcast, Lovey. Not in this one, though. Oh, and also, I'm wearing a shirt from the show. This is costume
I know.
from the show.
You're wearing like a prop that you stole.
The Miranda shirts from the show.
Oh, and also, if you love podcasts, which obviously you do, you're listening to this one. I was a guest a special guest. They called me special on my friend's podcast, which is a true crime podcast called Kind of Murdery.
My favorite type
of murder is kind of.
So
go listen to that. My friend Evan is making it, and the people behind it have won Oscars, Academy Awards. It is a great listen. So go check that out. Kind of Murdery.
Which episode are you on?
I think the third one.
It's great, guys. You should check it out.
Listen to the whole thing. Subscribe to it.
Definitely check that out.
If you're listening to this when this came out, I'm not on Good Trouble tonight, but I will be. The next one is a really fun episode, so you have that to look forward to.
Yes.
What do you got going
on? Nothing. Just editing this episode of the podcast. All right. Love you guys. And we're going to send off the episode with a beautiful cover of our theme song.
One.
Me too.
This one is so good.
Bye, guys.
Relájate, Colleen y Erik tienen podcast. El mundo acaba y en casa hay que estar con micrófonos grandes grabar. Relájate es el nombre del podcast.
You can relax. Colleen and Erik have a podcast. The world is scary and we're locked in our home, but now we have big microphones. So you can relax, that's the name of our podcast.